today with just thinking about your feet, plant them in the ground and sway back and forth, working on a balanced posture and feeling comfortable in the chair. Very good. Why don't you try some long bows on the G string, going from the frog to the tip, and use bilateral motion to sway, to open up your arm and your body as you play. Releasing your arm weight down as you move to the frog.
Sure.
Great, very good. So I saw a lot of improvement in your elbow position there as you were releasing and coming down. So now let's just take the bow. May I borrow your bow for a moment?
Sure.
And we'll just start by tapping the fingers, focusing on flexibility before you begin. And then after that, why don't you do rock and roll. And as you play, just notice the flexibility in your fingers and notice how light and free the bow feels.
Gotcha.
So start with tapping, holding the bow with 2 hands. Great, and then rock the bow. And notice the motion in your wrist and in your fingers. And then do you see the motion in your upper arm as well as your lower arm? Very good.
Gotcha.
And then roll the arm, thinking about the ball and socket joint in your shoulder. Nice. Okay. All right. Well, why don't you play the opening of the Bach Prelude? Great. Okay, so you can stop there. I think it's going really well. You have a nice fluid sound. But I'd like to see you using more of the bow, especially the lower half of the bow. And as you do come into the lower half of the bow, just allowing your arm to relax into the frog. So may I borrow your cello?
Sure.
Okay. So the first exercise we'll do for that, just 4 silent bow placements. So starting at the frog, just touch and lift, and then moving to the balance point, and then just past the middle, and then at the tip. And then you can come back, dividing the bow in approximate quarters until you reach the frog. And notice how your arm weight feels different when you're at the frog versus at the tip.
Right. Thank you.
Great, and so in this position already, you might feel a little bit more pronation and more weight in the index finger, and a different position in the arm. Good, and then finally at the tip will be your highest placement. And let's just touch and lift, about 2 inches vertically. Very good. And you might feel a lot more weight in the index finger. Is there any other spot in your arm or hand that you feel weight?
Just feeling the weight coming from the shoulder and everything, having the arm a little bit higher.
Great.
Yeah, that
Okay.
ball and socket joint.
Perfect, and then gradually move back 1/4 of the bow at a time to the frog. Great, and then there at the frog, do you notice how your forearm can rest against the body of the cello and just feel totally relaxed? Great, good. Okay, now why don't you try that same exercise, but instead of doing the 4 placements, place it and lift at the frog, and then place and lift at the tip.
Gotcha.
Good, and I like how you're incorporating the rock motion. Very good. Okay, so now we'll do another exercise where we will tug on the bow to just work on pronation. So I'm going to ask you to hold with 2 hands, approximately 2 inches above the middle, and we're just going to feel like we're pronating and tugging against each other, gradually working our way to the frog, and feeling that weight in the index finger that you'll feel more when you're at the tip. Great. And that feeling that you had will have the opposite motion when you're coming in towards the frog.
Right.
So let's just try a few long bows like you did at the beginning of the lesson, placing at the frog and moving towards the tip using bilateral motion, and just noticing that tug and shove motion.
Gotcha.
Cello was being tapped by your forearm, which was just a great position and a nice change from before. Good, okay, so now I'll borrow your cello again, and we'll do a little portato stroke just to feel that place and lift that we did, but in action on a bow. So we'll do 4 strokes per bow, and just notice the sound. Notice if your sound is the same at the tip and at the frog, it should be. And also notice the change in your arm height. Now really think about the arm coming in. Good. Can you try to do a little quicker?
Sure. G major scale. Sure.
And we'll go a little quicker, about 1 and 2 and
with the same bow.
With the portato stroke. Very well done. Good. So your sound was equal and even from frog to tip, and as you came in again, I saw that arm motion relaxing. Okay, why don't you try the excerpt again, and as you play, feel the freedom to use the whole bow, wherever that's comfortable for you, but not feeling constrained to the middle third of the bow. And then also, as you do your up bows, think about relaxing your bow arm.
The prelude?
Yes.
Okay.
But I hope you also heard it in your sound. It was much more ringing.
Yeah, it felt a lot easier too.
Good. Why don't you try one more exercise before we go on? That opening 2 beat phrase, da 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 da. Try it just on your open strings. So G D A D A D A D. Good. Do you really sense that feeling of dropping into the cello as you come back?
Yeah, kind of that pushing that you called it, yeah.
Very nice. Good. Okay, I think that's going really well. Let's add one more thing here. We still have a little bit of time for it. I'm going to borrow your cello again and just show you the smile stroke. So really, your elbow is going to make a smile shape. You can see it coming out and then back in. And we hear that release of the sound. Try that just at the frog, going to the middle. This week as you're warming up, just to have that same sensation of coming back in the body of the cello and making that smile stroke. So great, very nice. Okay, I'd love to hear the beginning of the saraband, maybe the first half. But I did get the sense that it was a little bit narrow and maybe even sounded more nervous than it should for this style of playing. So So let's try a few exercises. I'll just borrow your cello
Sure.
and your bow. So the first one I want to do is just a long shift ghosting. And you can first try it slowly and then you increase in speed until it mimics that shifting motion that we need to have for good flexibility for vibrato. Okay, go ahead. Good, and try it a little faster so it's more close to the vibrato motion. Very nice. Good. Okay, next I'll just borrow the cello and we will do a chopping motion. So I'll take my cello hand out to the side, make a C shape and find the nook. And then while I'm here, I'm just going to let the palm balance on the body of the cello and my fingers will rest either between strings or on the A string, whichever is most comfortable for you, and just do a gentle chopping motion, first starting slowly and then gradually increasing in speed. And as we're doing this, we just want to feel how your palm bounces and then rebounds away from the body of the cello. And you can even notice in your arm that you'll see motion in both the lower and upper arms. So yeah, very good. And make your C shape and come back to the nook. And then just bounce there, and then feel the bounce and rebound as you move. Good. Now, we're trying to remediate a really narrow vibrato, so why don't we try that as an exaggerated motion, a little longer, and then gradually you can move towards that more narrow. Yeah, great. That looks excellent. Okay, another exercise is to put the cello down, and we'll just vibrate on our arm. So your right hand is going to become your fingerboard. You can bring it here if that feels more natural to you. I prefer here, but it's up to you. Okay, so again, cello hand out to the side, make your C shape, come back. Good. And here we're just going to do that gentle chopping motion to start with. Good. And now let's just try one finger at a time. So same thing, but first finger, and then we'll walk or pass to second finger only, and then second and third. And then pass that same motion to third and fourth. Good. Now, of course, right now we're using a very light finger and we're traveling much farther than you really will for vibrato. So let's try just placing the fingers and feeling the weight drop into the arm. Good. Let's try that just for first finger, and then second finger, second and third and fourth. Good. Now this time we'll tap and hold. So it'll look like this. Tap, 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 tap. Notice how I'm using my whole arm, not just my fingers.
Right.
Tap, 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 tap. And then we'll throw our weight into the arm and hold. Go ahead. Good, and I like the width of that motion. Good. Let's try it again. Tap, 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 tap. Hold. Good, now only first finger. Tap, 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 and throw the weight down. Good, and notice the width of that motion. You can even slide a little bit if that helps to encourage you to work against that more narrow.
Just loose, yeah.
And notice your thumb. Is it traveling as you vibrate?
A little bit, yeah.
That's fine. Okay, now let's try it again, just staying in one spot. Tap, 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 tap. Now don't slide, hold. Good. Can you walk that motion to second finger without stopping the motion? Good. And then add the third finger. Good, and add the fourth finger. Good, and fourth finger can be independent if you prefer. Great, let's try that on the cello. You won't need your bow yet. You can hold it or put it down, whichever is most comfortable for you. Great. Okay, so let's place your thumb here on the body of the cello. And then you'll do that tap and hold motion there on the cello. Good, I love the width of the motion in your fingers. I think you can involve the upper arm more here.
Okay.
So try that as a bigger tapping motion. Good. So what we're working to do here is just remediate any of that tension that might be coming from the upper arm or even the wrist, and just widen that motion, maybe to the point of being too wide. Try it again, just a little faster. Tap, 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 and hold, but vibrate a little quicker. Great. Okay, I think you're ready to move that over to the fingerboard. So we'll tap and hold between the A and D strings. Can you stretch your hand out to the side to start with, make your C shape, come back to the nook, and now place your fingers to start with between the A and D strings. And notice how light and free they feel. Tap your thumb a few times to make sure it feels comfortable. Good. Okay, let's try to tap and hold there. And again, noticing that our upper arm will be involved in the tap. Ready? Great, very nice. Can you try that now in first position?
Sure.
Good, I like the width of that motion and your arm looks very relaxed. Now let's try just individual fingers. So tap and hold with first finger. Good, and now same thing with second only. Second and third. And then third and fourth. Yeah, that's a tricky one. Great.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so now we can do the same motion to start. We'll tap and hold first finger, and then just practice walking from finger to finger so that the vibrato is wide and continuous.
Still in between the strings?
It's up to you. Do you feel ready to move to the string?
We'll try in between the strings for now.
Perfect.
Keep it loose.
Good, now come backwards, back to 3, and then 2, and finally 1. Did you feel at any point a little glitch where you feel that the motion of the vibrato is interrupted maybe by an extra quick impulse?
A little bit from 2 to 3 coming back.
Okay, so let's do tap and hold starting with second finger, and then just practice passing the weight from 2 to 3 and back and forth.
All right.
And then go back to 2 when you feel ready.
Okay.
Very nice. Great, okay. So now let's try this playing a G major scale. We're going to work on just initiating that motion by remembering to tap and hold. So tap and hold here. Great. Okay, now I think we're ready to begin the G major scale. We want this vibrato to be so wide that you can really hear the oscillation and probably obnoxiously wide. Go ahead and try that on the G major scale. We'll play about this speed. G, 2, 3, 4, and then going on to A.
Gotcha.
Went back to that more narrow vibrato. Can you start from the D string again?
Sure.
And you have that width of the motion. Very nice, good. And if you have a chance to look over at your hand, you'll notice how much your hand and your palm are moving, and you have a much wider motion than when you first played the saraband today.
Right.
Very good. Okay, now let's just focus on G, the fourth finger on the D string, and we'll play 4 beats with a very wide vibrato, like wah, 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 and then we'll gradually increase that speed. So start with just that. Great. Good, we'll pause now. And let's try a triplet. Triplet, triplet. Great, okay. Now let's move to 16th notes. 1 and a 2 and a. Really thinking again about the thumb, the forearm, and just relaxation from the shoulders. But we'll start first with a faster vibrato. So try just the quarter note on the violoncello.
Sure.
Will be our initial speed, and then we'll split that from there.
Sounds good. to relax more the faster that we were going, and feel kind of like the same sort of the tap 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 motion to transfer it over here.
Good. Okay, let's do one final thing before you play the saraband again. Why don't you try that medium tempo that I'll demonstrate for you for the vibrato on the G major scale, with your focus being on transferring the weight from one finger to the next. So we'll try it. And then the vibrato speed will let me demonstrate again. So we certainly won't play with that with a vibrato, but it's a great way to remediate that really narrow vibrato that you started with today. Very good. Okay, why don't you play the excerpt of the saraband one more time?
Sure.
Very nice. So there were really lovely moments where I saw a lot wider vibrato, in particular on the fourth finger. I saw a lot of improvement, and there were some beautiful ringing notes. I still noticed that some of the notes had more narrow vibrato than I would like. Did you feel any tension in your hand, or what did you sense?
A little bit. Just I think I have to work on loosening up the first finger a little bit. I think that's the one where I noticed it the most, I think.
Play the very last note, that low D, and just notice how it might feel as you vibrate there.
Gotcha.
That was a note that I noticed could have a much wider vibrato than it did. Good. Do you mind if I help you here?
Yes.
Okay, so
absolutely.
place your finger on the D again, and I'm just going to hold your hand here, your arm here, and then help you just initiate this motion. We're going to feel a much wider motion from the palm. Good, and then tap your thumb a few times. Good, great. Keep the motion going, and then when you're ready, add your bow. Good. Why don't we try a one finger scale? Can you play up the C string, playing a D major scale, just first finger only, so shifting every note?
Yeah, I think just hearing the subdivisions in my head and stuff with the vibrato helped out a lot, I think.
Good. And I noticed in middle position, so over the fourth position, it almost seemed like it suddenly widened even more. Did you feel more balanced in your arm there?
Yeah, for sure. A little easier than being back here, yeah.
Very nice. Okay, so I thought you did a great job also with passing vibrato from one finger to the next. So why don't we just focus on just a few select spots before you play the whole excerpt again. What about the first chord? Will you play that again, thinking and listening to that long beat? Just hold it as long as you wish until you feel that your vibrato is as wide as you like. May I help you again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we'll again initiate this by starting from tapping the thumb.
Oh, tapping the thumb.
Great. And then I'm going to help you start your vibrato just as a really wide motion and keeping the motion balanced and even and equal. Good. Good. Can you keep that motion going? And then add your bow when you're ready. in the vibrato. What if you use bilateral motion just to encourage general openness in your playing?
Right.
Okay, I think that's coming along. Let's try it again, and I'll initiate the vibrato one more time. This is narrowing up a bit. Can you try tapping? Tap, 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 and then throw down your finger as if it were two magnets connecting to each other. Yeah, very good. And then feel the width in the motion. Can I help you here?
Sure.
Widen that. Great, very nice. Great. Okay, let's go on to the second chord, which also has a first finger.
Right.
Very nice. Okay, I think you're ready just to play through the excerpt one last
Okay.
time and really focus on the first finger and the weight there. A good exercise before we begin is just to loosen the shoulders, so bring them to your ears and let them go. Good. And then roll your head, relax that. And let's just, again, center ourselves, starting from your feet, feel comfortable swaying in the chair, feeling your sit bones side to side. Great. Okay.
Great.
Very well done. Good. I saw a lot of improvement both in the passing of the motion and in the width of the vibrato. So keep working on that first finger. Perhaps you can play that last note one more time for the extra
really
wide vibrato.
Relax into it.
How about doing that chopping motion in middle position one more time?
Yeah.
So may I demonstrate?
Yes.
This is when we'll take
Yeah,
the cello
Sure.
and just do this chop.
Chopping. You're right.
Yeah, and you can place your first finger only since that's the finger we're focusing on.